Excellent. All right, so we'll go ahead and get going. If I could get somebody just in the, so we're going to use the Q&A function for this evening on this webinar. The participants won't be able to take themselves off mute, but if you could just put in the Q&A, just confirming that you can see my screen, that picture of those people where it says episode 5. I just want to double check that that's what you guys are seeing before I move on. Oh, okay, perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and get going. So I want to welcome everybody to our 5th and final camp chat for this year. The final camp chat means that camp is super, super close. In fact, myself and the rest of my administration team, we moved to camp in less than a month, and there's roughly 54 days, only 54 days, less than 2 months, till our first campers walk through those gates. So I'm really, really excited about that. It also means that it's crunch time. So tonight we're going to be talking about the parent, guardian, and camp relationship, kind of what we expect from you and from your camper, and then what you can kind of expect from us in return. We're going to meet the staff, which is why I know tonight's presentation is a little more registered for, because the staff are one of the best parts about camp. And then we'll also have time at the end for questions and answers, anything that might be outstanding that wasn't covered in any of the previous chats, or just anything that you might have questions about. So let's start off with the Summer Camp Code of Conduct, formerly known as the Camper Code of Conduct, right? So I think we can all agree that camp is a really, really important place. It gives girls a chance to be responsible for themselves and their actions in a way that's different from like school or at home. They'll be relating to a group of individuals whom they probably haven't met before. It's going to give them, camp gives them a setting where they're going to be responsible and respectful, and then in return, everyone else is expected to be equally as responsible and respectful. This is why we include something like the Summer Camp Code of Conduct. It's included in your RegPack profile. If you signed it without reading it, we highly encourage both you and your camper to read over it, just because it really sets the ground rules and the expectations for this summer. So let's dive a little bit deeper kind of into that, what you can again expect from us, and then what we're going to expect from your camper and you while camp is in session. So the Summer Camp Code of Conduct, when you and your camper sign this, you both are agreeing that your camper is going to hold herself to the same standards that we are going to hold her, right? So there's a list in there of unacceptable behavior. And really, basically, it comes down to respecting yourself, respecting your fellow campers, and respecting your counselors, right? So it's all about respect is what's the bottom line of the Camper Code of Conduct. So we're going to ask that there are things in there that we're asking your campers not to do, things to not do in order to make another camper feel bad about herself. And then there's also a list of things where we're asking you not to bring those items. Those items are included because they really do take away from the camp experience, either for your camper or other campers, or potentially both of them. We also include in the Summer Camp Code of Conduct the Girl Scout law. Not all of our campers are full-time Girl Scouts, meaning they're not all in traditional troops throughout the year. Some of our campers are Girl Scouts only for the week that they're with us at camp, and we love that camp is the way that they choose to participate in Girl Scouts, but they might not be super familiar with the Girl Scout law because it's not in every troop meeting for them. So we include it as part of the Summer Camp Code of Conduct, just again, as part of that foundation of what we're really expecting our campers while they're with us, because everybody at camp, campers and staff included, are all expected to follow the Girl Scout law while they're at camp. We don't think anything in the Summer Camp Code of Conduct is super far-fetched, right? I'm imagining that most of these things are going to be things that you expect of your camper in everyday life, or the things that she has to follow while she's at school. But we just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what we're expecting of you guys, of your camper while she's with us. And so that's why it's part of the Summer Camp Code of Conduct, and that you guys will need to kind of sign off from that before she comes to camp. It's part of the profile. Most of you guys will have already probably read through that, but it's definitely something important that we want to touch on. So one of the things, nobody really likes to talk about rules, especially when it comes to summer camp, right? We want to just come to camp and have fun. And I promise you that they will, regardless of the rules, regardless of the summer camp code of conduct, we're going to have tons and tons and tons of fun. But we are going to talk a little bit about rules every week, no matter how many times a camper comes to camp. On that very first day, so either Sunday for our overnight campers or Monday for our day campers, every unit is going to sit down and they're going to talk about the rules, i.e. the expectations that we'll have of them while they're with us at camp. So we're going to go through some of those rules that your camper will experience on that first day, and we're going to do a slightly deeper dive. Just again, we want to make sure that our campers have as much information in front of them before the summer even happens. That way there's nothing to worry about except how much fun they're going to have. So let's talk about the first day rundown, right? So again, these are the things that your camper, along with her unit and her counselors, are all going to talk about on that first day of camp. If she's coming for all 7 weeks, she's going to hear this conversation all 7 times. We think it's important that regardless of how many times a camper comes during summer, or even how many times they've been to Conowingo before, every first day we set those expectations. So here are probably like our top 6 things that we think are really, really important. The first one is that we walk everywhere at camp. There's really no running at camp except on the sports court. And the reason for that is camp is in a really wooded area, and we have what we call ninja routes. And just like any other ninja, sometimes they surprise you and they jump out from the ground and they get you. And if we're walking, then ninja routes are less likely to be successful. So we want to walk everywhere we go. And we just want to make sure that if we need to get somewhere quickly, instead of running at camp, we just walk with a purpose. The other probably really important thing that your camper will hear a lot of during the summer is, does she have a buddy, right? We really follow the buddy system at camp. And what that means is that no camper is going to go somewhere by herself. She always needs a buddy. Now, some of our campers will come to camp with a buddy. And so we're not saying it has to be her buddy, right? If Susie and Sally are buddies when they come to camp, Susie and Sally don't have to go everywhere together. Susie just has to go somewhere with somebody, not necessarily her buddy, right? So if Susie needs to go to the nurse to ask her a couple questions, she needs to take a buddy. If Susie needs to go use the restroom to the latrines, she needs to take a buddy, right? And we talk about buddies all the time at camp. It's really, really important. So expectation is that our campers are going to go everywhere with a buddy. Sometimes they go somewhere with more than one buddy. If there's 3 of them, we call that a treddy. But there's always more than one camper present. The other expectation that we have of our campers, and we probably talk a lot about during the summer, is the shoes, right? And most Girl Scouts will be familiar that we're wearing closed-toed shoes with a heel while you're at camp. And during summer, that's no different, right? So we're wearing things like tennis shoes or Crocs in what we call sport mode, which just means that the back strap is down, but we still have on our socks, or shoes like Keens, something that's really nice and sturdy, but that has a closed toe and a heel so that we make sure we're staying nice and safe, right? So the other expectation that we want to talk about today that your campers will talk about on that first day is the dress code, right? We want to make sure that our campers are dressing camp appropriate and also weather appropriate, right? So we don't wear a lot tank tops really at camp, but mostly that's because we want to make sure that our shoulders aren't being burned on that very first day, because that'll make the rest of the camp experience not as much fun, right? So we just want to make sure that we're dressing appropriately. Things like if we're in riding camp, we probably need to be in pants, but if we're not in riding camp, then shorts are okay. So again, camp appropriate, not only just for camp in general, but also your program, and also weather appropriate, okay? So we wanna make sure that if it might get a little colder during our week with us, that we have a sweatshirt or a long sleeve that we can put on later, just because again, if we're super cold, then we're not really gonna enjoy our camp experience as much, right? So that's dress. The other thing we talk to our campers about on the first day is food and the dining hall, really. We talk a lot about the dining hall. So we tell our campers that our food, it stays in the dining hall, right? It's the only place that we eat, with the exception of cookout, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But for the most part, all of our meals are gonna be in the dining hall, which means all of our food is gonna be in the dining hall. And it's really, really important that our campers don't bring any extra food. And if they need food to kind of supplement their diet, and you've talked to me about that ahead of time, that part is totally okay. We just will store that food in the dining hall as well for them. If a camper needs more food, either at a mealtime or in between a mealtime, then she just needs to talk to her counselors, and we certainly will facilitate that for her, making sure that she kind of isn't feeling hungry. Because again, if you're hungry, then you're not enjoying camp in the best way that you can, right? In our dining hall, it's also really important. We'll go ahead and talk about it now because we talk about it every day, almost at every meal for our campers, and that's there's an indoor and an outdoor. And especially this year when we're trying to follow all of our COVID procedures, where we're trying to make sure that we don't have kind of clumps of people and we've got a nice flow, the indoor for our dining hall and the outdoor are even more important this year. They're very clearly labeled, right? And again, we'll point them out directly to your camper when that on that first day for that first meal so that she knows. And then we'll probably talk about the indoor and the outdoor throughout her week with us. But for the most part, the expectation for all of our campers to make sure that, you know, we're not getting any bugs or any animals in our units is that food stays in the dining hall. And then the last thing that I want to talk about for first day rundown is respect, or the golden rule. Really on the very kind of last part of the Sunday, probably right before first Sunday for our overnight campers, and then Monday for our day campers, one of the first things they'll talk about actually is what we call our circle of respect, okay? And this is gonna be kind of like a, really each program's own code of conduct where all of the girls, regardless of age, will sit down in their program and they'll kind of come up with an agreement with each other, which is what our circle of respect is. And so they'll come up with ideas of what that means to them, you know, guided by our counselors. So our counselors will make sure that we're talking about the fact that we walk everywhere and that we always go somewhere with a buddy. And so all of those things will be included in our circle of respect, but anything additional that our campers feel like they want to add in there, then that's going to be added to their circle of respect. And these are going to be all of the rules or standards that the campers agree to follow throughout their time at Conowingo. Each group, again, creates their own. So again, if your campers come in for 7 weeks or 4 weeks or multiple weeks, whatever it happens to be, that circle of respect will be different every single week because she'll be with a different group of girls for each of those weeks. And they're going to come up with different ideas and different things to agree to. Each week, your camper will get a small bracelet to kind of signify her circle of respect. And it's just kind of that visual reminder of those things that they all agreed to abide by. All right, so we did a first day rundown. What about the rest of the week, right? So each week will look roughly the same, and then kind of each program, the themes might look a little different depending on what they're doing. But for the most part, for our resident camp campers, so we just talked about kind of our first day rundown. Monday morning, kind of for the remainder of the week, we're all going to be at morning flag at 7:45. We're going to have breakfast at 8. After breakfast, we're going to do what we call our camp capers, where our girls are going to participate in kind of the upkeep of camp. We've always done camp capers. It's a tradition at Girl Scout camp. Some of you might be familiar with capers, like if you go troop camping. So after we do capers, we're going to jump into activities. We have 2 activity blocks prior to lunch. Lunch is at 12:30. At 1:30, we have what we call me time or rest hour. And then you guessed it, since rest hour starts at 1:30, then at 2:30, we jump back into activities. We have 2 more activities before we do evening flag at 5:45. We then have dinner at 6. After dinner, we will have sometimes 1 to 2 activities based on age. Some of our programs won't have any activities after dinner based again on that age level, but you can have 1 to 2 activities after dinner. For our day campers, it'll look pretty similar. There's obviously no morning flag because you guys haven't joined us yet at 7:45. But day campers will kind of all be on property by 9. We're going to do a quick breakfast together. We're going to jump into activities, 2 of them in the morning, similar to resident camp. lunch is at 12:30, and then we're going to jump right back into activities for our day campers, and then departure is around that 4 to 5 o'clock range, so that we make sure everybody gets home in plenty of time for dinner. And then day campers will obviously come back the next day and do it all over again. So there are a couple of things that differentiate some of the days of the week. So Monday and Tuesday are exactly for our resident campers the way that we just described, but we do have a few special days, right? That kind of change up the quote unquote normal schedule for camp. So on Wednesdays is cookout. I mentioned cookout just a few minutes ago. Every Wednesday, we will do cookout. So if you're a day camper, you'll do cookout for lunch. And if you're an overnight camper, we'll do cookouts for dinner. And so on Sunday, your group will all get together. Majority rules, we'll pick a menu for the Wednesday meal. And then you guys will get to make a fire, cook part of that over the fire, and then kind of enjoy that meal together. So again, that's Thursday lunch, or nope, it's Wednesday lunch for our day campers, and it's Wednesday dinner for our overnight campers. But cookout is a huge camp tradition. It's actually one of my favorite parts, I should say, about kind of just camp in general. I love cookout. And then the other day of the week that kind of has a special component is, well, I guess the other activity that kind of adds a special component, because it'll vary on the day of the week. And so Thursday evening for our overnight campers is what we call all camp, right? This is our last night together. So we all get together and we'll do a COVID-friendly all camp style thing where we're all kind of doing the same type of activity, but probably rotating in groups so that there's not a huge crossover for all of our campers. And so again, that's Thursday night for our overnight campers. And then all camp will be Friday for our day campers, because it's our last day together. We want to do one really last awesome thing. And so Friday will be all camp for our day campers. All right, so we've talked a lot, I was going to say a little, but we've talked a little or a lot about kind of what we're expecting of your campers, or what we're expecting of you and your campers. And so now I want to touch a little bit on what you can expect from us, right? So this is a picture of one of my previous administration teams. And so these are kind of the people who work behind the scenes to make sure that not only your campers, but also the staff supporting your campers are supported, making sure that they're having the best time possible, right? So we strive, it's our goal each and every day to provide a safe, healthy, and fun summer camp experience for all of our campers, right? So if one girl in a program either isn't having a good time or is disrupting the rest of the group, then obviously we're gonna go in and we're gonna have those conversations and we're gonna try and get everybody on the same page. So I wanna put it out there that we, myself or another member of my admin team, will reach out to you if there are any issues concerning your camper while they're with us at camp, right? I don't want you to think that we've asked all of these things from you, and then once your camper is with us, then that's the end and you won't hear from us again until your camper comes home. If there's something that we need assistance with, be it your camper's missing home for a little longer than we think that she should be. Maybe she isn't following the summer camp code of conduct. Maybe she's not eating well, or literally anything else. If we have questions or concerns, I promise that you can expect that we will reach out to you. We will give you that phone call. We will reach out. We will ask those questions, because again, we want to make sure that your camper's having the best time possible. And part of that is making sure that we have all the best answers and all the best resources possible. And your camper so obviously so much better than we do. And so we will want to use that resource wisely, right? So again, please don't worry. If we have questions, if we have concerns, you will get a phone call from one of my admin members, making sure that we can kind of help your camper while she's with us. The other thing that you can expect from us is that we will post photos of your camper each day. We do our very best to get every camper in at least one photo. Sometimes it's a group photo, kind of like the one on the screen. They're not all going to be individual. I will say to be patient with us for two things. One, some campers really just don't like to have their picture taken, right? They see the camera coming and they turn right in the opposite direction, or they turn around so that we're not capturing their face, right? And so we do our best when we encounter those types of things to then make sure that she gets her picture taken the next day. But we do our very best. The other thing I ask you to be patient with, and I said we will post pictures daily. I really should say we take pictures daily, and then we attempt to upload them in the evenings. However, we're in the woods. Sometimes our Wi-Fi just doesn't agree with us. And so it happens the next morning, like around breakfast time. But you can expect daily photos, daily updates really, so that you know kind of that your camper's having a good time, excuse me, and that you can see some of the activities that she's participating in, right? We are also available to you, right? So you can call us if you have questions. We're not always in the office. I'm not going to guarantee that someone is sitting by the phone, but what you can expect from us is that if you have to leave a voicemail, we will return your call within 24 hours. Usually it's a lot quicker than that. It's normally the next time somebody's in the office and we listen to those and we will call you back. So you can expect that return phone call from us. And then we also have an emergency line. If it is a true emergency and you need to reach someone right then and there, we have an emergency cell number that you can call. And obviously that is answered a lot quicker and a lot more frequently than sometimes our office number is. So those are just kind of a few things that you can expect from us. I will pause here. I know that was a lot of information, sometimes probably really quickly, but if anybody has any questions about kind of the parent guardian camp relationship, what we expect of you and your camper versus what you can expect from us, I'll pause here to see if you have any questions just about this part of the camp chat before we dive into the next section. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any questions come through, which is totally fine. Sometimes I take that to mean that the information was presented in a super clear and concise manner, and I will take that. So now for probably the part of the presentation that everybody's here for, right? Let's meet the staff, okay? So we'll dive in. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning on purpose. I'm sure many of you have already met me. My camp name is Red. This is actually my 8th summer working at Camp Conowingo and my 7th as the camp director. It's my 13th summer overall working at Girl Scout camp during the summer. I can't tell you how excited I am to get back to camp. I'm ready for the girls to be back out in the woods and to really kind of be providing that opportunity, not only for our campers, but also for our staff. So now let's dive into that staff and let's do some introductions. So this is Pascal. This will be Pascal's first summer with us at Camp Conowingo, and she couldn't be more pumped to be the STEAM specialist. It's a new position for us, and I know that Pascal is going to do one awesome job at it. She loves teaching girls all about nature, science, and art, and they are so excited to have an amazing summer this year. Next up, we have Odie. This is actually Odie's 2nd summer at Conowingo. She was with us a few summers ago, went to a few other camps, took a break, and now is rejoining us. And she's actually coming back as part of our admin team. She's going to be our office manager. Odie looks forward to spending time in nature and singing songs with all of the campers and staff. Next up, we have Numbers. This is Numbers' first summer at camp, and she's joining us as a unit counselor. Numbers, as I'm sure you can guess from this photo, loves the postal system, fun fact about Numbers, and she looks forward to spending time with the campers and getting to know all of them that are going to be in her programs this year. Next up, we have Mats. This is Mats's 4th summer working at camp, and this year she's coming back as the assistant camp director, which I'm personally really excited about. Mats is mostly looking forward to cookouts every week and also getting to throw tomahawks on our new tomahawk range. I too am excited about the tomahawk range. Next up, we have Hazard. Some of our campers might recognize Hazard. She is a former camper herself. This is going to be her first year officially on staff, but her 5th summer overall at Conowingo. Hazard's going to be working as an assistant in the health suite this year as she got her EMT certification last summer. Hazard's looking forward to seeing everyone back at camp this year and meeting tons of new friends. Next up, we have another new staff member. This is Sparks, and this will be Sparks's first summer at Camp Conowingo as a counselor, but she's actually been a camper for many, many years. She goes to college in Florida and loves the warm weather and the sun, but is excited for the slightly cooler weather that we might find in Maryland this summer. Next up, some of our campers will recognize Bluebird. This will be Bluebird's second summer at Camp Conowingo, and she's returning as a unit leader this year. She's excited to be back at camp in the units with all of the campers, and Bluebird is ready to sing all the camp songs again and make the best memories with all of our amazing campers. Next up, we have Gemini. Gemini is a first-time camper with us, and she cannot wait to meet everybody. Gemini loves to read and sing and is really looking forward to getting involved in the everyday fun of camp. Next up, we have Stars. This is going to be Stars' first time at Conowingo, but it's actually her fourth camp that she's worked at. She's worked at a couple other Girl Scout camps. Stars is joining us on our admin team as one of our program directors. Stars' camp name actually relates to her real name, but as we all know, that's top secret. She first started loving camp thanks to her favorite movie, The Parent Trap. And Stars is looking forward to teaching and learning things at camp with all the girls and the staff while making sure that everybody is having fun together. Next up, we have Moth. This is going to be Moth's first year here at Camp Conowingo. Moth loves to make films and tell stories in her spare time, and she can't wait to be at camp and help all the campers have an amazing summer. Next up, we have London. London is a graduate of our CIT program. So this is going to be her first summer working as full-time staff at Conowingo, but actually her 8th year attending camp. She's excited to share her love of camp with this year's campers. And this summer, London is looking forward to singing songs and doing crafts with all the new and returning campers. Next up, we have Poppy. Poppy's joining us from Spain. It's going to be her first summer at Camp Conowingo. She loves America. She's been before, and it's beautiful nature that she's encountered. Poppy's looking forward to spending the best summer of her life with the amazing Girl Scouts of Camp Conowingo, and she can't wait to meet everybody. Next up, we have Tabby. This will be Tabby's first summer as a counselor at Camp Conowingo. It's Tabby's second favorite, or rather, I should say, Tabby's second favorite part of camp is the high ropes course, but their favorite is all of the amazing friends they get to meet. Next up, we have Derby. Derby is from Kentucky. Derby is an avid trekker. Nope. Derby is an avid Trekkie, a crafter, and she is an exotic animal enthusiast. This is Derby's second year at Camp Conowingo, and she is coming back to us this year as a unit leader. Next up, we have Fuji and Monster. Fuji is from Florida, and this will be Fuji's 3rd year on staff, but her 10th summer at camp overall. Fuji's actually coming back this year as our nature manager, and Fuji's looking forward to cookouts and hanging out with all of the campers. With Fuji in that picture is Monster. Monster's returning for her 3rd year on staff, but don't worry, she isn't as scary as her name makes her sound. And Monster is beyond excited to get back to camp and hang out with all of the campers. Next up, we have Seaweed. This is going to be his first summer at Camp Conowingo. He'll be one of our waterfront lifeguards and cannot wait to assist in all the fun swimming activities. In his free time, Seaweed loves listening to music and playing video games, and he's looking forward to taking walks in the woods and exploring all the camp trails. Next up, we have Bear. This is going to be Bear's 4th summer working at Conowingo. She'll be returning this year as one of our unit leaders and is looking forward to getting back out into the woods. She's most excited for Wednesday cookouts, which seems to be a theme, which is awesome, and getting to do all of the camp activities in person again. Next up, we have Fudge. This is going to be Fudge's 1st year on staff, and she's joining us as the counselor and adventure intern for this summer. Fudge is looking forward to finally being on staff and learning all of the ins and outs of camp. Next up, we have Pocket. This is going to be Pocket's 1st summer working at Camp Conowingo. Some of Pocket's favorite things to do are backpacking, reading, and kayaking. Pocket can't wait for this summer to begin. Next up for introductions, we have Foxy. Foxy's been wanting to be a counselor at Camp Conowingo for a while now and is thrilled to have been offered the opportunity to join us this summer. Foxy loves working with both humans and animals, horses being one of their top animals that they love to work with. Nessie is returning for her second summer at Camp Conowingo and is joining our admin team as our equestrian manager. Some of our riding campers will recognize Nessie from working at the barn in 2019. She's looking forward to helping all the girls at the barn and she's hoping that some will walk away loving horses as much as she does. Freckle is coming back to camp this year as our adventure specialist. She loves kayaking, as you can see in this picture, and she actually lives on an island off the coast of England. She's looking forward to coming back to camp and helping all of our campers step outside of their comfort zone while they're with us. This will be Magnet's second summer as a unit leader at Camp Conowingo, but she's worked at other Girl Scout camps before. Magnet loves all things camp and Girl Scouts, and she cannot wait to be back surrounded by the magic of Conowingo. This is Otter. This is going to be Otter's first summer with us on staff. She's another graduate of our CIT program at Conowingo, and Otter is looking forward to finally being a full counselor. Next up for introductions, we have Coco. Coco's coming back to camp for her second summer, and she'll be joining us again as a unit counselor. Coco loves spending her summer in the woods surrounded by all the campers as they encourage her to try new things and just be silly. These two wonderful humans are both joining us from Mexico this year and will be teaming up to work with our chefs as kitchen assistants. This will be the first summer at camp for both of them, and they're very happy and excited for the opportunity to join the rest of the staff for the summer and are super ready to meet everyone and have a great time. Last introduction, this is one of our unit leaders, and she's joining us from Germany. This is going to be her first summer at Camp Conowingo. Her passion when she's not at camp is for playing handball. She's really looking forward to meeting all of the campers and getting to know camp life. All right, well, there you have it. That was our staff introductions. There will be a few additional faces that were not part of this kind of first introduction. We still have a few spots to fill. We're actively still interviewing and hiring for a few last positions. So when your camper joins us, or if you join us for one of our pre-camp events, there might be a few additional faces that we didn't get to meet tonight. But speaking of some of our pre-camp events, I want to talk to everybody about Open House. I want to remind everybody that Open House is June 20th this year. Normally, well, I shouldn't say normally, in years past, it's been kind of a come when you want, leave when you want style event. This year, right now, our plan is to kind of have sign up blocks. So you come for a block of time. We're going to go on a camp tour. There's going to be food available, the activity, there'll be, the pool will be open. There'll be a horse to meet. There'll be different things for you guys to experience and really get to then meet the staff and interact with them in person, which I know will be really exciting. Open House is usually one of our it's one of our funnest days, really, because it's just kind of laid back and everybody gets that first kind of camper staff interaction. So again, Open House, June 20th, it's $5 per person, except we recognize that it's Father's Day, and so fathers get in for free. I also want to mention for our girls who are in grades 1 to 5, we have a program called Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And this is where a prospective camper, and maybe not for this year, maybe your camper is coming in 2022, but Girls Just Want to Have Fun is a really great introduction to resident camp. It's where a camper and her favorite female role model, where you guys come as a pair and you get to experience resident camp during the summer. So you arrive on a Saturday at 10 a.m. and you do all the things that we would do at camp. You get a group of unit staff who'll be with you throughout the day. And then you leave the next morning at 10 a.m. and really have had that kind of quick camp experience. But a lot of people who have come have found it really helpful, especially for our campers who maybe this is their first summer. Maybe they're a little nervous. This is just kind of that great first introduction for them where they get to experience camp, but kind of with the safety of having that person that they're super familiar with, that female role model kind of. And so this year, Girls Just Want to Have Fun is June 26th to 27th. And it is, sign up is already available. So if you know that you want to come to that, you can already register for that program online. And then I will open the floor to questions. And I know I mentioned it at the start, as it's a webinar, you won't be able to take yourself off mute, but please take advantage of the Q&A box, type in any questions that you might have, anything that you're thinking or that your camper's thinking, because I can almost guarantee you that someone else is thinking it too. So I'll kind of pause and let you guys type in any questions that you might have. I will also say, while potentially people are typing questions, if you missed any of our previous live camp chats, we've had 2 previous ones. They will be on our YouTube channel, so you can always go back and relook at those. So we do have a question that came through. It says, when and how can we register for the open house? If it should be on our events calendar, and if it's not, let me go ahead and just throw, I can put the registration link for you in the chat. Hold on, give me 1 second. I've already got a couple people registered apparently. All right, so here's the link. You all should be able to see it for the open house if you want to register for that. Victoria wants to know, they're having an issue finishing up the registration online and RegPact. Who do you contact? You're going to contact me, but shoot me an email. It's the easiest way for me to kind of keep track of that. My email address, and I really should include it in the questions slide there, but my email address is camp, like CAMP, at gscm.org. So again, it's just camp at gscm.org. Send. And then we have another question. Do day camp and resident camp weeks overlap? They do, yes. We have some day camp weeks, and we have 1 or 2 overnight programs that are happening at a similar time. They won't overlap as groups, so to speak, but they will be happening at a similar, like they'll both be on camp at the same time, but none of our groups are really, for regardless of when they come, they're all going to operate as their own group. So normally we might have, 2 or 3 groups in the pool at any given, in previous summers, pre-COVID. This year, all of our groups will be in the pool solo, like just as their group, so that we can make sure that there's no real crossover. And in the event, one that I haven't foreseen yet, if any groups that need to cross over, they will then be potted, like they will then, if there are any activities where they need to cross over, they will always be the ones that are grouped together. That way we can kind of keep track of it if it becomes necessary. So I'll pause again and see if there are any additional questions. I did get a question recently about luggage tags. So for our overnight campers, standard procedure is that you attach luggage tags. We talked about them in one of our previous chats to literally all of your camper's luggage, including anything that might potentially be a bag later at the end of the week. Like a prime example is laundry bags. If your camper comes to camp with a laundry bag, you should put a luggage tag on it, because they don't always, generally the laundry bag just becomes its own bag at the end of the week and it doesn't normally go back in the suitcase. Luggage tags aren't ready yet, but I can guarantee that you can expect from us, or from me rather, that the luggage tags will be available with plenty of time for you guys to be able to print those and attach them to any of your camper's belongings. excuse me, and then we got another question in that says, how many campers will be in each cabin or tent? So based on previous CDC guidelines of needing 6 feet between people inside a cabin, based on that, we will have no more than 4 girls in any of our cabins, and some of our cabins will only have 3 campers, which is how we kind of got to our numbers for the week. So not only will that allow us to give them the appropriate space inside their cabins, it also means that our group sizes are much smaller. You know, in years past, we might have had a group of 30, and now we might be down to, you know, 12 or 16, depending on how many cabins are in that particular unit. And so that gives us more kind of space to keep them spaced out while they're on camp as well, not just inside their cabin. So again, for inside cabins or tents or anything else, any sleeping structure, no more than 4. Some of them only have 3. And we've always expected our campers to sleep head to toe, and we will make sure that our campers are sleeping head to toe this year to ensure even kind of more space. We probably would prefer them to be toe to toe, but some of our cabins might not allow for that. I'll pause again, see if anybody has any last minute questions. We definitely still have some time, so no rush as you are potentially typing them in. All right. Well, if nobody has any kind of remaining questions, again, as always, anytime you have questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. Again, that was just camp@gscm.org, and I will be happy to touch base. And if it's a type of question where a phone call might be easier, I can certainly do that as well. You know, if your camper has a dietary restriction that you're unsure about or you want to ask questions about, I'm happy to kind of touch base over the phone and answer any questions that way, if that way might be easier. And you're welcome to include that in an email that you just would prefer me to give you a call to kind of touch base through any of those things. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And for those of you that kind of watch this later, thanks for kind of making sure this information is received. Again, camp is in under a month. This time in a month, I will have already been at camp for several days during starting that staff training. And I could not be more excited. And I know your campers are probably just as, if not more excited than me. And that makes me kind of, you know, it makes me happy that we're able to provide this opportunity for them. So again, any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening.